journaling has been a real journey for me. And this journey that I'm sharing today is really about my experience of journaling, how I journal, the different methods that I use, and the importance of journaling as I have discovered it through this journey. I just want to say that it's lovely to have everybody here on the day of love. And for me, it's a day of loving you, loving yourself. And I really feel like journaling is a practice that is really about loving yourself. It's a practice about connecting to you, connecting to your heart, connecting to your soul, connecting to your guides. And at the very top, I'm going to say, I feel like this is why people struggle with it a lot, because it's that I have to connect to myself. And most of the practices that people struggle with most, I observe, and the ones I've struggled with most are the ones that connect us deeply to ourselves. So we don't like them. So we try to avoid them because we don't want that connection to ourselves. It's in that moment of silence. So first off, one of the things that I would give you as a question is for your journal is, if you're resistant to it in any kind of way, put it down as a question. Ask everything as a question. Why do I feel I resist this journey of journaling? What is the block? What is the obstacle? And then don't force yourself. Sit in front of your journal. Leave that question there and allow your heart to give you the answer. Okay, so for me, this practice is really about getting out of your head. Okay. So for me, it's like, how can I see my journal as my best friend? Not as something I have to do, not as a chore. Because as soon as we see it as a chore, it's kind of, we start to resist it. Our human mind starts to go, I don't want to go there because I have to do it. So what would make you want to journal? What would make you want to connect to your sacred space? So they are questions that you can put into your journal. Okay. And it's really about making a space. So as I said, I don't know if I said it or not actually, but I really struggled with it. Like my starting place with journaling was zero. Like I struggled with the idea of sitting there, writing things down. And it was very on and off for me when I first started the practice. I didn't really know what to do. It was like, I used to open it and sit there and go, now what? Now what do I do? Now what do I do? And then I would write something like, yeah, it's been an okay day today. I kind of felt like this, but it was a real avoidance. When I didn't have a relationship with me, how was I going to have a relationship with my journal? Not possible. Okay. Because I was trying to avoid myself. I was suppressing. I was running away. I was wearing a mask. So if I started to journal and connect with my journal, it was obvious that all of that would come off. And it was just like, oh, I can't do this. Okay. Somebody else has just come. I'm just going to let them in. So yeah, it's like, what is that belief that you have about journaling? Again, write it down. Everything that comes up for you as questions, write it down in your journal. Even if you don't answer it straight away, write it down. So there's different ways that I do journaling. One of them is obviously a journal. I have bought some of my journals to show you because my journals are my best friends. Okay. I'm not going to just go and pick up something that I don't want to engage with. So these are just a few of the ones that I've used. I probably use about one a month. That's how much I write, but it's really about something I want to engage in, right? So when I changed it from just an ordinary notebook into, I'm just going to show you the inside of this. See the inside of it? It makes me want to write in it. It makes me want to connect to it. So make it special. Like, know that this is a practice. I'm going to create a space for it. This is my sacred time. And what would allow you to engage in it? Does it need to be something that looks like that? Does it need to be A4? Does it need to be A5? Like, find something that works for you. Don't just go with any old thing. Find something that fits. These really fit with me. I love them. They're little. They fit in my hand. I can take them places with me. Because my journals, if I ever go anywhere, they come with me, right? Especially if it's like overnight. So that's one way. Also the pens, I use different colored pens. Okay, because this is also about being able to bring your child out to play. And it's important. Really, I am one of those people that will say it is important what you are writing in, the quality of the paper you are writing on, what you are writing with, because it's a relationship. You are building a relationship with your journal, with the sacred space, right? And if you are building a relationship with a friend, you're not just going to like sort of throwaway thing. You think about it, you put effort into it. So put effort into that. What's going to make it like my journal sits there. Currently, I'm using this one. It sits there right in front of me. So when I wake up, okay, it's there. It calls me because I love rainbows and they're one of my signs. And that's my reminder. Okay. So be discerning about the journal you choose. If you get a chance, go and feel them. Open the pages. Like, how does it feel in my hands? Do I like the quality of the paper? Go and use some pens and test them. Does this pen feel nice to write with in my journal? Because those things really matter. Because you matter. And it's about loving yourself. Loving yourself enough to do those things for you. Right? These are my go-to pens. I use them every day in my journal. And then I can write different things in different colors. I can highlight things. I draw little doodles. Make it your space. Don't make it as a fly away 5 minutes I've got, so I'm going to go put something down in my journal. That's not how it works. Build the relationship slowly. And it was very, very interesting. Today I picked up, this is one of my old journals. And it was random, completely random. I don't have all of them with me, but like I said, I use one a month. So I've got so many. I opened it. And the very first page, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the very first page in this journal was written on the 14th of February, 2022. And it says, so this is an insight into me. I want to be loved and to give the love I have within me without fear. Once again, without fear that once again it will hurt. I want to be felt as a soul and being. I want big warm hugs. Okay. And that is what my life is now. That is what I experience. So not only is it a space for you to kind of process, reflect, but it's also a space where actually you're making your words into things. It's a space for you to visualize. It's a space for you to create. Okay. And it's fascinating. Imagine when I picked this up today and I opened it and I went, oh my God, the first entry was exactly 2 years ago today. And for though I know everybody knows Anne, and in there was this postcard. Start each day with a grateful heart. This postcard, I actually wrote to myself at one of Anne's workshops, and she then mailed it to us. And that was in the front of the journal. Okay. So it's a space where you can really see your own journey, right? Because when I opened it and I read what I'd written 2 years ago, I was able to go, oh my God, that is my life now. So your journal provides all of this for you. It's recording your process. It's recording your progress. It's showing you how far you've come on your journey. And you deserve that. You deserve to be able to look back and go, whoa, look at where I'm at compared to where I was. And you can also see the things that have come alive for you. And it also holds you accountable. Okay. I write my declarations in there. I write my dreams in there. I write the things I want to create in there. And just the very process of putting pen to paper. And that's why for me, pen and paper is the best medium for it. Just putting that, like that process is such a beautiful, sacred process because you are creating when you write your words in your journal. And you are processing and you are healing and you are allowing yourself to witness all of you. And that is something that we don't do enough. Okay. The other ways to journal, though, because there are other ways to journal. I record on my phone. So again, if you're wary of like writing it down on paper and somebody else reading it, etc., 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 every time I go for a walk, especially when I'm in nature, I have an app called Voice Recorder. I just put it on and I allow. I don't specifically ask anything. But I allow the flow. And that for me is another great way to process. So you can do that and keep that as your journal. The other way is obviously electronically. You can do it on your phone. I just very much find that relationship is very different for me, right? So when I write something on my phone or on my laptop, there's a very different connection than when I'm writing it pen and paper. Okay. But again, find what works for you. When I worked with children in schools, I used to give them a scrapbook as a journal. And they used to stick things in and they used to represent stuff with like different colors or different photos. So it's like, get creative. There isn't only one way to journal. Okay. So different things you can do in your journaling journey. Okay. So things I have done when I couldn't journal anything else, I did gratitude. I have a good few journals that are literally every single day. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And I showed up every day. So I would do a page a day on what am I grateful for today. Okay. So it's not inane stuff like I am grateful that we have an ocean. Try and make it more aligned to today I am grateful for. Things that you experienced in the day, moments that you've had, because it will really plug you into what was the positives in my day. Okay. Where is the love? Rather than our focus on the negative, which we can keep very, very easily all of the time. It's a beautiful thing to be able to look and go, oh, actually, I was grateful for these 5 things today, even if I had a difficult day. Because there's always something that you are going to be able to find gratitude for. Okay. Even if there were some days where it was like, I am grateful that I got through today. But it's a space of honesty. So when you start your journal, in the very beginning of mine, I usually write a message to my journal, thanking it for service, thanking it for the space that it's giving to me. So I'm building that relationship with her all of the time. Okay. I write a message to the journal. I write a little bit of something around where I currently am on my journey, where I feel I am on my journey. So that every time I look inside the hardcover, I've got it written there. Okay. So you got gratitude. Another way you can use it if it's difficult to journal is just every day write down, what did I feel today? What were the different feelings that I went through? Again, that's going to raise your awareness to the fact that you're not only feeling one feeling throughout a day, because we can very easily wake up in the morning and go, I got out the wrong side of the bed. It's going to be a terrible day. So when you do a feeling kind of journal, you're really kind of plugging into, okay, what different feelings did I go through today? And then you really get to see that actually it's not just like this. You go through so many different feelings. So it's like when I went to the shop this morning, I felt like this. When I went for my walk in nature, I felt like this. When I sat down and I had this call with my friend, I felt like this, because you also see from those patterns where your energy is shifting. So imagine every time you're seeing one person and you write down, this is how I felt when I see them. And you see a pattern that every time I'm with this person, I happen to feel like this. You just realize that your energy is in a certain place when you're with this person. Or when you're doing a certain activity, if you always end up feeling the same way and you've recorded it, you can see patterns. And that's another great reason to journal, is being able to see your patterns. Okay, when I'm doing this, it feels like this. But every time I'm doing this, it feels like this. Right? Every time I engage with this person, I feel like this. Patterns. Then you can understand your behavior. You can understand how your energy shifts when you do certain things. So that's another way to use it. Another way that you can journal is to just write down your thoughts. And for me, that's a biggie because it will make you aware of the thoughts that you get stuck in. I think we have something in the range of, I can't even remember, 60,000 thoughts a minute, a second, something ridiculous like that. Or is it a day? I don't know. Don't quote me on it. I've said it in another workshop somewhere and I know I've got it right. But we focus in on a very few. Okay. We focus in on the repeat thoughts. So write down your thoughts. Write them down. And then you'll notice, where are my thoughts at? Where are they? Because too many of us give our thoughts and feelings away like we don't have any control over them. Like, I can't help that I think like this. But as soon as you start paying attention to your thoughts, you'll have the opportunity to disrupt your thoughts and go, hold on a minute. Why do I keep thinking this thing over and over again? When am I thinking this thing? When are these thoughts coming up for me? So when I feel a sense of fear going into this situation, if I feel the same every time, there's something that I need to heal there. There's a trigger point. But it's also good to kind of see, where am I having the good thoughts, the positive thoughts, the useful thoughts, the thoughts that are different to the thoughts that I was having yesterday. But it also gives you an opportunity, which I often do when I look at my thoughts sometimes. I'm going, I need to disrupt this pattern. What thoughts would I like to think? What would I really love to be thinking? And I write that down. And then I read it. And then it's just there. And the more awareness you have, the more you've written it down, the more it's likely to stay as a space of awareness over here somewhere. And it's like, oh, actually, this thought came up again. I want to be thinking that thought. And you can replace the thought. Because that's how we change our thoughts and feelings, by understanding them, knowing them. Because we fully control them. And it's been such an interesting journey for me to see over the last few years how my thoughts have changed. Through my journals, I can really see it from a very, very dark and negative place. And everything about the world scared me. Everything about myself scared me. To this space of just light. I can see my entire thought process has changed. Accountability. Okay, it's a space of accountability. So the other way you can journal is to specifically make it about today. How do I feel about today? What was today about? What was going on? What were triggers? What were amazing things that I want to remember? Okay, day by day. Do a breakdown of the day. That's another way that you'll be able to dive into things and go, okay, so why was I feeling like that here? I wonder why I did that. Okay. Like I said, it's a space for curiosity. It's a space for introspection. So rather than writing something down and judging yourself, be curious. I'm wondering, I've written this about 10 times now. I'm wondering what's going on. Okay. I know somebody mentioned it before we started, guides. That's another thing. What message do you have for me today? Guides. I write it down at the top of a page. I close my eyes for a few minutes. I connect to my breath. I connect to my heart. I pick up my pen and it just flows. It just flows. Okay. Because you're directly asking a question outside of you as such. Okay. And then when I'm stuck with something, I will actually start with, okay, I need your help. I need your help, guides. Okay, and then I sit there. And it's not a forced thing. If nothing comes out. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be full sentences either. If it's just words, write the words down. Just write the words down. That's the other thing. Like, don't make it into, well, I can't do sentences and it doesn't flow and it doesn't this and I'm not good at the word. Because that's just you giving yourself another reason to not do it. Okay. Sometimes I just sit there with my journal. I ask my guides to step in. I close my eyes and the words, I just write down words because that's what's flowing through me. Okay. So it's really about making it your process. What works for you? What feels good to you? because it will expand from there. If you can commit, even if, okay, as a start point, because I give this to my clients who really are resistant to journaling, set a timer for exactly 1 minute. That's it. And you're not allowed to do more than 1 minute, and see what happens. Just 1 minute. Okay. So for anybody out there that's resistant to it and you're watching this, that is your challenge. Sit there, time yourself 1 minute, and I challenge you to just do it for 1 minute and no more. Because your resistance is going to kick in and go, how dare she tell me to do it for 1 minute? How very dare she say to me to do it for 1 minute? And you'll start writing. Okay. So do that, or 5 minutes, but make it doable. People, do not make it under. This is why it doesn't work, because they're like, I need to write War and Peace. It's just going to turn you off, and you're just going to be like, no. Okay. Another way to do it: pull a card. If you use cards, pull a card and ask yourself, I wonder, why did I get this card today? What is the significance of this card for me today? What does it mean to me? What are the colors on the card? And as you write, you'll start to get messages. Right? So the card that's actually come out is Ariel, and its new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view the world and yourself. So write about it. What do you see in it? And then thank your guides. So that's another way you can use it. You can make a self-love journal where you write about your love for you on a daily basis. You write about, how did I love myself today? How did I show up for myself today? How would I love to love myself more? What would have been more loving in the situation that I faced today? Use it as a love thing. Do it very, very specifically. Okay. Make it however you want to make it. There are so many different ways to use journals, and I dip in and out of all of those different things. All of those different things. For me, my favorite thing is just going into this space of automatic writing. And when I automatically write, my writing is very different. Like the way that the letters are formed, it turns all slanted. I don't do joined up writing and suddenly it's all joined up. So I know that there's something coming through me. And it's some of my greatest writing, because when I go back, I'll be like, whoa, that blew my mind. Because when I automatic write, I don't know what I'm writing at all. And I'll go back and I'll be like, wow, just wow. Okay. But it's a process of connection. If you're not connected to you, if you haven't built a relationship with your guides, if you don't know what that feels like, nothing happens and you get stuck in your head. And I used to get stuck in my head with it before as well. So now it's just a process of asking my guides to step in, maybe meditating for a few minutes before that. I have my crystals next to me. I will light a candle, because it's about that relationship you're building with yourself and your guides and your team. Okay. And then put your journal in front of you, and without any pressure, you don't have to think about anything. In automatic writing, I don't need to think about anything. It just comes. So I can ask a question. Why am I feeling like this right now? And I can just be with it. I can breathe, and then write the very first word that comes for you. And from that space, it will start to flow. And then you can ask more questions. It's a communication process, because you'll also be able to communicate with your higher self. Now you can ask your higher self to step in and give you a different view of what may be going on for you right now. So there's so many different things. When something is happening for you, that's big. So especially through this like awakening process, keep a note of all of the signs that you're getting, because you forget. So when I spin my playlist every morning, I write down the song that comes up, because it's significant. It's no point doing all of these things and not actually paying attention to it, because then the next day or in the evening, you can go back and go, okay, so how did this song make sense today? So even if it's as basic as that, what was the song today? And go back and go, how does this make sense? Because you'll see it, right? I went to the park and I saw a feather and it was over there and I saw something that was this colored and I write it down. Because I guarantee in the moment when Anne or somebody asks you, you'll go, I don't know, I don't get any sign. I can't remember. Okay. But if you keep a daily log of the signs, you start to see the patterns and how your guides communicate with you. So I incessantly at the moment see the number formation 1, 2, 3, 4 in so many different ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 4, 1, blah, 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 again and again. So I write it down because to me, when I then journal about it and go, what is that? It's a go point, isn't it? It's like things happen in sequence. 1, 2, 3, go. Right? That's the message that keeps coming through me. Okay. And it's not that you have to do it every single day. If you don't want to do it on one day, don't do it. But I urge you to push through and even ask in the journal the question, why do I not feel like doing it today? Where is the resistance? Because that is how you're treating yourself. Your journal is a reflection of you. For me, everything is a reflection of the relationship with us. So your journal is really a reflection of the relationship with you. So the fact that I have a beautiful journal, the fact that I take my time over it, the fact that it's sacred to me, they're all indicative of things that I have in the relationship with myself. Okay. So if you are one of those people out there just grabbing a scrap of paper and any old pen that you can find and you're writing, what does it indicate about the relationship you've got with you? What does it indicate? Right? Think about that and write about that in your journal. Or you can ask yourself questions on a daily basis. Varieties of questions. One of my favorite questions is, what did I choose to believe about myself today and why? Because your beliefs form your story. Your story gives you your thoughts and your feelings. It's a simple process. Even just writing those things down, my beliefs are creating my story. My story is creating my thinking is creating my feelings, and my feelings create my actions. Even if you write that down and you look at it, you'll start to see the patterns in your own day. You'll be like, oh, I was believing that. Okay. And it's a space to dump. That's another thing. Scribble, dump. It's better out in your journal than it is in your head. Yeah. Because in your head, it just goes round and round and round. And as you start to write it down, you can really look at it and go, but is this all true? What am I actually believing here? Okay. For me, I've processed a lot of stuff step by step. This was a situation that happened. This is how I responded to it. This is how I might have reacted to it. How would I like to respond to it in future? What would I love to do in response to this? Gives you time to reflect and do stuff different. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all of the things that I actually wanted to say. Make it easy for yourself. Because I think the thing I hear the most when I talk to clients about journaling, when I think about my own process, when I talk to other people about it, is one, I'm afraid it's going to be too painful. And it's, if all that pain is inside you, you need to get it out of you. You need to process it. It's stuck in your energy body. It's stuck in every single cell of your body. So your journal is actually a fantastic way to get it out. If you don't want to read it back right now, don't read it back. But at least get it out. Because it concerns me when people go, well, I'm concerned that it's going to be too painful. Because it's like, so you're actually willing to hold on to all this pain and hurt and just keep it inside you, which was then normally indicative of some kind of anxiety, stress, worry, burnout, depression, because you're holding on to everything, right? Let it out. And in that sense, if there are things that you don't want there, write it on a separate piece of paper so that you can scribble on it. So what I used to do, an activity that I used to do with the young people that I worked with, was they'd get a piece of paper, They'd write down if they were in rage or they were really, really angry or feelings of hurt or pain or whatever it was. They would scribble it all out on the paper as much as they wanted to. Okay, and I've done this with A4 paper, A3 paper, massive paper if you need to. Get it all out, jump on it, up and down, up and down, up and down, rip it up, burn it, do whatever you want to do. But it's the act of release. You need to get it out of you. Do not keep it inside, because it's not helping you. And again, ask yourself the question, why? Put it in your journal. Why do I suppress everything? How is it helping me? Another great question for your journal, one of my overall favorite questions of all time, is how is this serving me? The relationship that I'm in, how is it serving me? The stuff that I'm doing with my life, how is it serving me? The fact that I'm choosing not to journal, how is it serving me? Because I guarantee you, whatever it is you do with your life, currently it's serving a purpose. Whether you do or you don't, it's serving a purpose. You're doing it for a reason. Okay. So one of the other things you can do is write like a list of questions at the beginning of your journal so that you can every day go back and go, okay, today I'm going to answer this question. Today I feel like going and looking at this question. So you're not lost in it as you go through your journal, right? And you're going, what question do I ask? Put it at the beginning. So you've got a set of things. So you could write a list like I could do gratitude, or you could write why did I believe this, or whatever questions you have, put them at the beginning of the journal. And if you're having an off day or whatever it is, you can go to the front, you can look at the question and go, okay, I'm going to work on this question today. Okay. Because it's about making it accessible. It's about making it work. And there is, for me, no absolute way to do anything. It's really about what works for you. And for me, the automatic or channeled or download stuff is really, it's like love letters from the universe. And then what I write in my journal is like my love letters to my soul, to the universe, to the child in me. And sometimes I do write to the child in me. That's another thing I do with my journal is I write to the child me. And I take out a photo. I know I've shown it to people before. I have it on as the background on my phone. Or I will actually keep a photo of me in the journal. And I take the photo out and I look at it and I put it there and I talk to her. I ask her what she needs. Because she didn't journal like that when she was little. She didn't have the opportunity to, right? But for me, the journaling process allows such a space for healing and self-connection and self-love and self-inquiry and self-mastery. I have had exponential growth through my journals, honestly. And when I look back, I'm just in awe of my journey. And the thing is, we focus on the negative. We focus on the things I haven't done yet, the things I haven't overcome yet, the things I haven't healed from yet. So I'm going to give you an exercise for your journal, which is a list. I want you to start a list of all of the things that you have overcome, all of the challenges that you have faced, all of the things that you have coped with. And it's not a judgment on how I coped with it. I'm not asking that. I'm just asking you to write those things down and put a marker or something on that page so you can readily keep going back to remind yourself on the worst of days, look, I've come this far. Your journal holds all of this potential for you and so much more.